I'd call continue the special meeting from May 6th. And we'll continue with public comments, or if we need written comments coming in.
There were no submitted comments. We just have one person who signed up.
Okay, so please, let's start.
Sign up.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. I'm Kim McGahee. I live at 2011 Ocean Boulevard, Topsail Beach. I'm a full-time resident down there. And I want to talk to you about this safety building. I know I'm the voice in the wilderness on this issue, but I'm here to ask you again to scrap the plans for this building. Instead of some 1964 East Berlin government monument, let's build an attractive, cultural, recreational, historical, retail commercial center on Main Street, Topsail Beach, with an outdoor stage with seating for 500 people, an historical park next to the assembly building, and a commercial retail Main Street with cottage front porch architecture for retail shops, restaurants, and galleries. We have the most scenic oceanfront setting in North Carolina and possibly the entire Southeast. And we have avoided the terrible, ugly development that has plagued Surf City, Myrtle Beach, the Outer Banks, and Virginia Beach. We have here what the rest of the world wants, and a small investment now in a musical, historical, commercial park could make Topsail Beach the destination venue for classical, jazz, bluegrass, and all types of music. We could become the Aspen Institute of the Southeast Coast. And at some point in the future, quote, we heard them play at Topsail, unquote, would become world famous. So my request is that you can this building and replace it with Destination Topsail. I know that some of you inherited this building and that there's been expenses for architects and planners and other experts along the way. But I'm here to ask you to scrap the plans for this building. And if you build this government monstrosity, I believe that your short-sightedness will be scolded for the rest of your lives and will permanently scar Topsail Beach. This is an ugly government building and it should not be built. It will permanently scar Topsail Beach and deprive us of our manifest destiny and the highest and best use of this land for our locals and our guests. Now, I know you're a ways down the road on this whole thing, but it's never too late to do the right thing. And you'll be remembered for doing the wrong thing if you move forward with this government building. Thank you.
I'll be shorter than that. Area busy, 2121 Shoreline Drive. Full-time resident. I just have a couple of questions because I don't know if it was going to come up in your dissertation or not. How much was the asphalt roof going to cost? And with the addition of the metal roof at 133,000, is that including the asphalt roof money that was put aside?
Mhm.
So that makes it well over $200,000.
For a metal roof, that's probably close.
Yeah.
That's what the number.
We put 130,000.
130,000.
For the asphalt?
No, for the metal.
Yeah, 133.
Oh, 113, I'm sorry.
113, and you included the asphalt money in
I
there?
don't recall the asphalt portion of it being quoted separately.
I don't think it was quoted separately, but you're correct, it's 113 more
Right.
than an asphalt roof.
Right, and then the hurricane windows. The original estimate was for hurricane windows and not fire rated windows. Is that how I understand from the other night?
The fire rated is a partial number of the windows. The ones that are within a certain distance from our right of way have to be fire rated. And the cost of those fire rated windows far exceed that of a hurricane. But all of our regular windows are the ones rated.
150.
150.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just surprised that wasn't picked up before the day
They
before.
We were to, the fire rating is
This
because,
is where I have my problem, that we're going over the original number that you put out there. Which I was against, as you know, I was against that even then. And my other question would be, how much money is in the reserve fund that we're not touching? That we keep for the rainy day fund or whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
That $2 million? About,
Yes, sir, about, I don't have
about
exact.
that?
yeah,
Okay.
less.
But again, we have to have the 50% of the budget, wherever the budget is, and then anything over that, which is the rainy day.
Okay, and that money's in a CD or is it just in a
We have
general
some of the
account?
money in CD, but,
And if
not,
we took that money, the additional money out of that, would we still be where we're supposed to be, the 50%?
we possibly would be close, yes, sir.
So I'm against taking another loan. And do we still pay on a loan on the lot? For the
Yes, sir, we
building?
do.
Another loan. I'm dead against taking any more loans out. So,
We did pay off the 2 lots across the street. That was done this March. So we only have the one
One.
land.
yeah, the big one.
We have 2 water loans, but those are the loans that the debt has
Okay.
with the town.
Thank you. I appreciate you, young lady. More than you know. You have the answers. Okay, and the only. All right, here's my final take. I'm against the loan. Say take it out of the fund if we're gonna go above, which I'm against going above. I go with the asphalt roof. We get hit with a Cat 4, Cat 5, I don't care what roof you got on, it's going. And I won't have a house here anymore anyway. Or you get rid of the extra bay, which I was against, at $233,000, which would take care of everything you said. And that's all I gotta say. That's my, sure I forgot something, but we got the gist where I'm going. And thank you for listening. And I do thank you for your work, though.
Thank you.
I don't want you to think I don't appreciate that. We do have our own opinion.
You do.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Excuse me, I'm a little slow, Mr. Mayor.
That's okay, you're excused.
We've gone from this thing, I've been here in the last couple of years, we've gone from $12 million to back to $9 million after a careful study and taking out what we did, and winnowing the shaft out, and getting exactly what we need. We've got what we need now. We've got the right building, the right situation. Everything is fine. I've talked to a lot of people have talked to me over the weekend and just shooting the breeze, and everybody I've seen has been in favor of this and applauds the job that you guys have done on looking at what we really need and making arrangements to make it happen. I think it's time that we break out the golden shovels and break the land.
Thanks, Henry. Any other comments? Okay, the board.
Short and sweet, good.
I hate that
Short
Mr.
and
Gates
sweet.
I'd like to address
I know.
what he said, if I might, which is our former mayor, Steve Smith, went and got us $8 million. It was not a grant, it was an appropriation, am I correct with terminology, that the state gave us specifically for a public safety building. They did not say we could use it to build a business park anywhere. They did not say we could use it to make Topsail the musical destination of the United States. To be honest, if we became the Aspen Institute, I don't know where we'd park the people that come. And Mr. McGay is right. This place is really, really special. Quite frankly, I don't want to tell anybody about it. I don't want to encourage other people. Come on down and share what we've got. We've got enough people right now. We can't get people off the island on a busy holiday weekend. What the heck would we do after a giant music concert? So while I appreciate his sentiment about how special we are, and he's correct, this money can only be used for one thing, and that is to build this building. And I think Mr. Kirby's correct. We've gone through it. It is what we need. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't like it. The first rendering, I almost stroked out. I thought it was so ugly. There are going to be people that don't like this one. And at the end of the day, we tried to strike a balance in the middle. Mario, I respect your comments, quite frankly, on getting a loan. When you go buy a house, even if you've got the cash, sometimes it doesn't make sense to pay cash for it. This is a building that will be used for the next 2 generations. To burden today's taxpayers to pay for it or to deplete our reserves, so when we have a hurricane, which we will, we could get caught by surprise. To me, it just doesn't make sense. The town is in a good financial position, but to pay for long-term assets as a banker out of current cash, I just don't think it makes sense for our residents.
Question for you.
All right.
All right, we have a major hurricane. We blow through that $2 million. We need more money. What are we gonna do? Take a loan, right? To continue to do
So we
repairs?
just needed to, yeah,
So what's the difference in reality?
matching assets and liabilities to me, quite frankly.
Well, I just don't see going deeper and deeper in the hole. That's just my personal opinion. That's how I was raised. If you got it, why are we gonna keep taking loans out?
I was raised the same way, so that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
John? Yes.
Because we started out this building, there was a lot of controversy, even within the board, about what we wanted, what we needed. And so we decided, what we would do is set a committee, and I'll commend that committee for what they've done. They've done an excellent job. They've got, I think, what we need. They've worked hard, and they've tried to keep it as close to that money as we can. But, I think the primary thing we need to do is have a building that's going to last us and be sufficient for us for 50 years. We don't want something that 10 years from now, like schools do, we got to start adding on to a building because we didn't plan ahead, at that particular time. We might not know exactly what that need might be, but, we're better off to plan ahead a little bit than we are to try to react later on down the road, and probably at a lot larger cost too. So I want to commend the committee, and I, personally think we've got a great building. They'll do a fine job for us, and a nice looking building, even with the
I don't have much to add, to what, Nancy and Joe have said. I feel much the same way about it. I have, gotten a lot out of being asked to work on the, small committee that put all this together. It's been very rewarding for me, and certainly it's made me feel like, what we need to do is, in addition to the 9.6 million, is add on the metal roof, at an additional cost. I've heard from many residents worrying about the roof. Some who have dealt with the insurance, issues around that, and seen big losses because of leaky roofs and so on. I put a metal roof on my house, I think, maybe 18 years ago or so. And I've never had to send a roofer up there since I put that on. Before I put it on, I sent a roofer up there every single year to replace something. So I believe that it's worth it. Even if you don't have a terrible hurricane, it's worth it. So I feel good about spending that money. And I also feel good. I'm torn about the loan business, but we're looking at something, like Joe said, it's going to be here for 50 years or more. And we don't need to have all the burden falling on today's residents to cover that cost when we can stretch it out over 20 years or so. So I'm supportive of the financing arrangement.
Why don't we address the fourth bay for Mario? about when we looked at cutting it.
Yeah, I'm glad to do that. Turn on here. I'm hearing. It was on. Okay, there we go. The fourth play, we, when we started into this, almost a year ago, we really didn't know what was gonna happen with Pender EMS, and we're hearing a lot about, well, you're gonna have to have an ambulance here and so on. And frankly, we're still not confident that we won't have to have an ambulance here, but it's been a very, very fluid situation for the last year about EMS coverage, and in particular the ambulance, whether or not we could use the building over there. Would we need to have any place to house an ambulance? We just don't know, and we still don't really know. But we talked about the fourth bay, and we worried a lot about it. When we started talking about this last July, I think that was costing $233,000. Now, we have to add the fourth bay, and that was an attractive amount of money to get rid of. We have stewed and negotiated and pressed on Thomas Construction to understand our need to get the price down to 9.6 and to understand what we really wanted. And I think all of us wanted the fourth bay, except having to pay for it. So we kept pressing on Thomas, and they came down and they came down. And the last price that we heard, the last amount that we heard we could save by not having the fourth bay, somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, about $60,000.
It's 50.
Just 50,000, yeah. So, that kind of, compared now, we're talking about over 100, just put the metal roof on, which we think is essential. That took away the drive to do away with the fourth bay. When I look at the firehouse we have now with 3 fire engines and several additional pieces of emergency equipment, which definitely have to be stored inside during much of the year. We're trying to get by with just 3 bays, even though you could have some room behind the mini pumper to put some of the smaller pieces of equipment. We don't need to have our firemen crowded into a crowded space if we can put on this fourth bay. So I think the right thing to do especially for the people who are in that building every single day and having to maintain equipment, sometimes in bad weather, we need to have the fourth bay. And who knows, in 20, 30, 40 years, we might need to have another big truck in there like an ambulance. So the right thing to do, if we can see our way to come close on the budget and have the fourth bay, that's what we need to do.
So near the end, if we looked at it, if it had saved 250,000, it would have been under consideration. When it got down to 50,
All right, it got down to 50, but originally it was 233, so where's the other money?
It rolled back in, they looked at the structural part of it, and they would have to change the structure of the remaining part of the building. You just can't build a metal building and all of a sudden add another bay. Just the loads won't handle it. And that would include also adding another footing situation under the main load-bearing walls. So I think when they started factoring all that in, the cost of adding was a problem. And our savings went down because if we added the bay later, it would cost a lot more. So that, when you start taking away what we would save on it versus what we would spend, it got down in the $50,000 range.
All right, and the ambulance service comes from Pender County though, right?
The ambulance right now, EMS.
Or are we down the road looking to start our own ambulance service?
Not unless we have to.
it's over in the rescue squad building.
Yeah, I know where it is. I'm just saying.
It is. Yeah, they're going through their study now of how they're going to provide coverage. There's been no firm commitment that they say, yeah, it's going to stay here. But once they start counting dollars, it may not. And right now they've even streamlined the med unit So they're roving meds now that come for,
Yeah, you cross your fingers and hope they're close by.
Yeah.
I understand that.
and I just, with the age of our population, I don't want to trust not having an ambulance.
Mary, are you trying to say I'm old? Come on.
We're on.
I'm here to you.
But that's where I'm going with my question.
Yeah.
With the ambulance, if they pull it and put it on the mainland.
If they pull it, then the funds that we supply based on their tax rate would no longer be needed for Pender County, would come back here. I would challenge spending money if we're not getting the service.
No, I'm just saying, if we ended up going for our own ambulance, it costs a lot of money.
It does.
But we're already paying that in our.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, if we ended up saying, you had to start your own, it's a lot of money.
I just don't want to read something that they can say, well, we don't have a place for you ambulance, so we got to pull it.
No.
And,
Mayor, we also help saving that bay by taking the $40,000 epoxy floor out of that building too.
Sure.
That helped with that, take some off the bays out there too.
And just one other thought I had, should have mentioned it earlier. As I described, we pressed heavily on Thomas to get the cost down. And one of the things that we heard over and over and over again, probably starting in about January or February, was the subs are hungry. They're looking for work. And that allowed Thomas to put the pressure on their subcontractors, get the prices down that Thomas was being quoted. And I think that was a factor also.
I'll add that I have 3 standing seam Vulcan metal roofs across the state of North Carolina in commercial buildings. And the age of those metal roofs range between 25 and 30 years old. And the roof in Wilmington has been through several hurricanes. I can't say it's been through a Cat 4, but it's been through Florence and everything else. And I've never had a repair. So for me, it's just sort of almost I hate that we have to, go over our number, go over our budget, but I'm sold on the concept. And the analogy about schools and government's never planning ahead and adding on and putting trailers on the school grounds where the baseball diamond is and things like that. We know we're going to find uses we haven't even thought about yet with big storms for that 4th bay. So that's just where my mind is.
I wrote up something before we had our meeting, so some of it won't make sense, and it's not designed to rebut what you all said. It's just my thoughts from yesterday. Let me start with, I support this proposal. My only disappointment is in the inclusion of the 4th bay. Based on months of study and speaking with all the involved, I believe it to be a necessary expense. I believe the commissioners on the building committee did what they could to include the 4th bay as an option to cut if we came in over budget, value engineering section. Unfortunately, by the time I joined the board, the 4th bay was essentially baked into the cake. In other words, the advantage of removing it at this point is now outweighed by the cost, both financially and in delays and required redrawings of the structure, which we haven't talked about yet today. I would be remiss if I did not express my disappointment, but it will not preclude me from endorsing the project as a whole. Let me also ask a question or make a statement. We're not making a vote on Wednesday or this week about the financing. We're just approving the building, correct?
This week on Wednesday, regular meeting, we will be awarding the contract.
Right. But we won't be talking about whether or not we're going to borrow money.
No,
that's a budget item.
That's purely that's internal.
Right. But that will come as a budget vote, not as a building vote.
Yes. And it's, I don't know if it would be a budget vote.
It will not be unless I'm told differently. I've actually reached out this morning to someone because I saw your question, Mr. Alex. And if we're not going to be needing it for this year's budget per se, we do not have to budget it at this time in our budget proposed. We could also at any time make a budget amendment if the board so desires at the time we are ready to do this. This is not gonna be, we jump out there and say, oh, we can get a loan today. That's not happening, because we have to go before the local government commission and get their blessings and all the paperwork and procedures that does that. So this is, it's just not a matter of we can just go and get a loan.
Correct. And that's what I understood from you. So the vote on the building is separate from how we finance the building. That was clarification I wanted to make. So we'll have those discussions, because I'm much like Mario. I don't find, and you, Nancy, I think mentioned, this is not how I do my personal finances. And I'm concerned about the borrowing money primarily because when you borrow $1 million at 4.75 over 20 years, you're going to pay another $500,000 in total. So yes, future generations pay for it, but they're going to pay more. And it does add to our expense line, which means we'll have to make up for it somewhere.
The arbitrage on the money that you don't take out, that you're earning interest, offsets that.
I understand. We talked about that. So there is a, right. It's not, the 500,000 in interest is not completely a cost, because we could put that money in savings and make that a smaller amount.
And one thing on the budget, and this is part of the luxury of a design build, is that our contract, the contractor itself is actually gone through and they have their vendors online committed under contract with them. So there should be very little cost overrun, because they've already vetted all that and have firm prices. We're signing a firm number, and within that firm number is $100,000 contingency. If we've done our job right, and we think we have, the only way they can use that contingency is if we ask them to. So if we're frugal and don't want to go there with anything, then the amount that's needed at the end drops.
So the only way that number goes up is with a change order, essentially.
That we chose,
That we
chose.
initiate.
Yeah.
And when you have a mayor who's an architect, I will say it's been extremely handy in getting this building on track.
It's been fun. Like I said at the meeting, we've been through every room. And so there's nothing left, I don't think. Or color even. No, we've got an ongoing joke here, John and Nancy.
Now, police officers are pastel pink to soften the experience.
As long as you put the inmates in jumpsuits. Sound like that.
No, anything else?
No, that was it. I just
Appreciate it. Yeah.
wanted to make that statement.
Okay. We really can't take a vote, but I think we have a general consensus of where we're headed. And if anything comes up between, we still will have a discussion on Wednesday before we take the vote. Anything pops up?
I remember when I was appointed to the board, there was a lot of dissension locally about getting the message out. Remember that, Alex? And people just seemed unhappy. They felt like a lot of decisions on this building were being made behind the curtains. I think we've seen since we have been elected to the board that that's not the case. And we have put out as much facts, figures, and information as we possibly can. So my hat's off to everybody in this room for getting the message out, and appreciate everybody's support.
I would agree with that. And I found, at least in my professional life, that over communicating never hurts. And I have to admit that I reminded Mr. McGahee yesterday of this meeting today, because I didn't want him to complain later and not having known about this meeting. So.
Thank you, Commissioner.
But I would tell anybody that, even people who agree with me or disagree with me. I want them to come and speak, because we don't need to do any kind of rework in terms of votes and things like that. We've already done that this year with parking. I don't want to do that again.
I think we're open. We've always listened. And I think, we're an open book, please. So we're going to get democracy done. So, okay. Do I hear a
I
motion?
make a motion that we close the special meeting.
Second. I have a motion. All in favor? Yeah.
Thank y'all for coming.
Well, let's say we're adjourned. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
We closed the special meeting, but we didn't make a motion. That
I make a motion that we adjourn the special meeting. You already did.
Just adjourn. All right, adjourn.
Just say that.